Welcome to today's podcast. My guest today is called Katainen, and Kim is on a mission to help people to create things together. He has his own consulting company called Structure that helps people work together digitally by providing people with the right tools, skills, and framework. Welcome, Kim.
Nice to be here.
So, how did you start working on solutions for communication? Communicating digitally. How did you get into that business?
It's actually a long story in a way. It's actually 20 years in the making, quite frankly. I started out as a hobby. I was a geeky kid in a way that I played video games a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Also did sports, so you could say an athletic geek.
Yeah.
So I first became passionate about these online multiplayer games in the year 2000 or so, and I joined my first online team as a kid around that time. And over the years, I started building my own teams around gaming and also sometimes even like hobby groups around sports.
Yeah.
And we used all kind of different kind of technologies like real-time chat tools, voice communication, discussion forums, anything.
So you had your headphones and
your
mic
and
when
microphone,
you were playing.
everything like that, definitely. So over the years, we saw quite a many of those tools, and also while I was just doing that for fun, playing as a part of these different online teams for different games, I also, because I was a student, didn't have that much money, so I liked free games. So I ended up testing like 10 to 20 different kind of games that were still in the works, that weren't released yet. And I didn't just play those games. I noticed that I loved also to communicate with other people in the community, give feedback to the game developers, what is working, what seems unfair in the game, what is glitching, bugs, and all the stuff. And I got my first dip in also something related to kind of like product design or product development, if you will. And after 10 or so years, quite frankly, I even wrote a master's thesis about how people collaborate digitally.
All right.
And finally bump into a friend who said that we're building this company related to digital collaboration, building digital communities. Do you want to help out?
Oh, all right. That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
A way to start your own business.
Definitely so. Kind of like usually even I remember my dad saying in a way, he saw me like playing this video game when I was 15 or something. And then I one time said something smart to him behind the computer. Oh, you're not just wasting your life away. You're actually doing something worthwhile. So
the legendary that's never gonna feed your family, so to speak, by playing games.
Exactly so. So I'm happy that my even a childhood passion or a hobby became a career that brings food to the table today.
Yeah. So you're building a digital communities, right? So if you look at the global perspective, what impact do you think it may have on environment and companies that operate on let's say the cleaning the world field?
Well, first of all, like any business or a company, of course, is building some kind of a product or a service. So if you look at the people who you're working with, if you're using some kind of digital tools, a digital environment, you're able to be smarter together, if I will. You're able to learn from professionals around the world without traveling, for example. And then again, if as an individual also you're looking at the industry of like what's happening to our environment globally, we all live on the same planet, right? Sometimes you might feel a bit detached to those news, like water levels rising, this species going extinct. Digital environments and communities and tools, they help you also to reach out to people who actually see these things happening around the world. So I think digital communities make us smarter, they make us wiser and faster to work together around this environment, in these environment matters around the world.
Yeah, so I heard that you also create this called what was it, collaboration canvas, right?
Yeah.
So it's a framework that helps people build a model of how to work together, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So what I noticed that if you say that working together. What the heck does it even mean? It sounds something fun, fancy in a way, but more like philosophical, I'd say, something vague.
Yeah.
So I even wrote a master's thesis about this to somehow try to find the plain language. What does working together mean in a way? And then when you take this topic, something that can be a bit vague already, what does it mean for organization, companies, businesses? How do they actually work together? So it's not something vague, it becomes something tangible. So the canvas actually is a collection of 10 exercises.
It's kind of a tool, right?
It's kind of a tool. It's like a visual, imagine like a sheet of paper that has 10 boxes, and each box has some kind of a question in it. And the question is basically an opening line to one exercise per one of those boxes, quite frankly. So kind of like, what is the goal of your organization? Who do you want to work together? How do you want them to work together? Why should they care? And all the way through these 10 questions, you find answers together. Let's say with your marketing guy, with your accountant guy, with your person doing HR, with your person doing legal, whatever it is. Like, how do you actually want this team to work together around something that relates to the goal of the whole organization? So 10 exercises.
So is it a matter of helping people to better communicate, or
working together is mainly about communication, really kind of like, what is our goal? What should they be? Who's in charge of this and that? What have you done to move this and this ball forward? So the collaboration canvas is really a big part, mapping out how and who and where should people communicate and why, so that the organization, the company, the business will get closer to their goal, whatever it might be. Let it be like a financial goal, or having an impact in the world, or recruiting these and these people, whatever the goal is, where they feel that people in their organization need to work together.
Yeah. Very interesting. So,
Definitely.
So is there a lot of companies that have used your canvas, or is it still on development stages, or?
It's a new canvas in this form. So I have 2 companies that have used it. Both of them have been in the software industry.
Okay.
But I'm already in the talks with other kind of companies also. For example, one in facility management, one provides hotel for businesses to run their companies. So there's definitely interest in different industries, but in this form, it's quite new. But of course, it's been several years in the making. Like usually when you have a great idea and you're able to summarize it into one sentence, it has taken years and years, at least for a man with my intellect. And so of course, I've used some kind of a canvas in some form for the past 10 years, where I've helped 25 companies work better digitally together in a way. Media companies, sports leagues, hotels, universities, mobile game developers, you name it.
Yeah. So what do you think is the next revolution of connecting people digitally?
Great question. So of course, people living in this tech digital bubble, like myself, I could easily talk about artificial intelligence and flying cars and holograms and all this stuff. But I'm actually a project manager also at this project funded by google.org. And there we're teaching digital skills to people that normally don't learn them in school or as a part of their job. For example, I'm talking about factory workers, I'm talking about people like cleaners, truck drivers, people who do real things and they are not playing around with computers and smartphones the whole day. So and also if you think about schools, then again, whatever you learn at school, it's going to be old in 1 or 2 years when it comes down to digital skills. So in this project, we're trying to find the skills and the best ways to teach these things even to hundreds of thousands of Finnish people in the next decade, and millions of people across the whole European continent. So I feel that because I've seen I've seen the people who are not just living in the digital bubble, but also work in factories, again, cleaners and truck drivers. I think the next revolution in digital communication, digital collaboration will be not flying cars, but companies, organizations, even societies realizing that there's so many interesting technologies out there, and you need these and these kind of advanced skills to use them. So the gap between the skills you need and the skills that people have is going to grow so big that there's going to be a breaking point in a way. So the next revolution, I would say that various people, big players realize that, hey, we have to start teaching people these basic skills. Just like at some point people were taught to read, the whole society teach people to read, and how much that has affected the whole society. Teaching people to use a computer, teaching people to understand the basics of artificial intelligence, or using cloud services to create presentations, whatever it might be in the future. That is going to be the next revolution in digital collaboration.
So it's a matter
communication.
of a matter of help, teaching people to do the basic stuff and maybe help them do their work more efficiently when they know what they're doing, and
Exactly.
let the digitalization help
Yes.
help us for the job in hand, so to speak.
Great way to put it. We talked about before that these digital communities, digital teams, collaboration, they help us be smarter, wiser, faster together. And imagine if you can teach hundreds of thousands of people to be smarter, faster, and better together, or millions of people, that changes whole societies.
So if that happens, we'll all hope that happens, that people will get help if they need, for the digitalization. But what do you think the world will look like compared if people get more together through digital environment? Is it going to change the world somehow?
Great question. So we will talk about the being smarter together, being faster, being wiser together. I think one thing we haven't touched on yet is that I think the world will also become more empathetic. I've learned that I used to study, for example, social psychology at university, and I learned about attitudes, for example. And we use different kind of stereotypes in our mind. We simplify how people are like. It's always about us and them. We are good. Those people are a bit different. I don't think they're as good as us. And one way to alter these kind of, let's say, unconstructive attitudes is to get people to mingle across these boxes, if you will. Let's say, because I'm in Finland, I'm Finnish, if I have some kind of a negative attitude towards, let's say, people in Germany or the UK or something like that, if I haven't interacted with these people coming from those countries, I might hold those unconstructive attitudes, stereotypes for many, many years. But when I make friends with German people from the UK, I realized that, oh my gosh, they're just normal people like I am. And bring this to the global scale. People around the world interacting with people on the other side of the world, and let's say even building communities together, as in working together for the common good. That's going to be a great way to also not just get something great done together, but also learn about the people who are doing that with. So I think that will teach us empathy on top of just making us more smart, wise, and faster as a species, if you will.
Yeah, because I guess the world has gone, getting smaller and smaller once we live in the world of internet and internet communication, so to speak. But at the same time, it's nowadays normal to have a different kind of person or personality on the web. So you can be basically whoever you want. Isn't it? You can,
it is.
You can make up that you're not Finnish. You can tell everybody that you are from Germany.
Yeah.
people won't really know that you're not from Germany. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
have a different profile picture. You can
Yeah.
have a different name. You can do whatever online and have a kind of a different identity in on the web. So that's gonna definitely change the world somehow.
Yeah.
And in good and bad also.
Yeah, it's honestly like back in like late 90s or early 2000s, of course, there like I think anyone who's been new to the internet, especially the Wild West era where people were just learning to talk with people from Germany and the UK, like myself as a teenager, of course, many people had some fun with that stuff also, kind of like, oh, I'm actually not from here, ha ha ha. But I think but still, I think that the most meaningful things, let's say the people you actually become friend with, you will learn that, okay, this person is actually this and this kind of a person, coming from this place, loves this and this kind of things. And the people you work with, I think that even though that is almost a risk also, because you can also false identity, I do think that most productive relationships online still will be honest and transparent in a way.
Yeah. And then at the same time you can more easily learn about different cultures and countries and people more easily, because it's we're all online. You can talk to the German guy or girl just typing on your phone in seconds, and then learn about their culture. Like I said, you can talk to and learn, and they can tell you things and so on. So
honestly that takes us, I know I gave you kind of like the origin story already, kind of like how I like started building digital collaboration, helping people to work together, but like the late 90s, coming from a gaming background again, as a kid, the first time I played some online game, I don't care about the game. I was just chatting with a guy from Sweden, guy from Germany, the guy from States. I'd never talked with one person from a foreign country before. So I think that even though that happened, or like 20 years ago, more than that, I really think that we might have gotten away from the magic of the internet even, like how amazing it really is that we're able to connect with people from around the world in real time or with a delay, whatever we're looking for, and build organizations, build communities, build companies using this wonderful technology. And it just almost brings a tear to my eye still.
No, but it's I've lived the same learned by doing, so to speak. When I was young, there was no internet, and there was no the people weren't so close to me. So now, like you said, it's just a matter of being on the same platforms and put yourself out there, and so on. But on a corporate side, then again, it's the corporate social responsibility, and well, how do you think? How do you implement it to your ongoing projects?
Well, of course, I have several projects, but Simplify, I have my own company, Comstructure, the consulting company, and then, for example, I'm a project manager also at this project funded by Google.org. So if I first start as a business owner, of course, it starts with the people who you work with. Of course, you have to care about actually it starts with empathy and education, I would say. So like you have to care about other people, and you have to learn how you can care about them. So if I get back to the business owner side of things, of course, like it's been a lot of trial and error, because I work with software startups for a long time. I think I worked with them for like 8 years. So for example, I've learned that how important it is, even for a new company, to be financially sustainable and very, very transparent with the team. Because things can change very quickly. People might get hurt, their families might get hurt, their extended family might be hurt if you cause stress to your colleagues or even like employees. But also as a business owner, now that I have my own company for the first time since 2018, I can do everything exactly the way I want it. I already care. I'm already empathetic about other people, but I also educate myself about, for example, financial sustainability. So I think it was the first 6 months or so, I spent 1 day a week. Every Friday, I spent the whole day not doing sales, not serving my customers, just to learn what do I need to know to be financially sustainable. So for example, I learned about bookkeeping. I had extended discussions with my accountant. I attended classes. I subscribed to newsletter related to taxation, all the stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to be empathetic and you have to be educated. You have to be always learning how you can not just care, but know what to do. So of course, that's the financial side of things. But then also as a business owner, I do think I care about the ergonomics of the work.
Yeah.
So for example, whenever I work with someone, I want them to be comfortable working with me. For example, I'm not talking about necessarily lifting heavy boxes, but how is their workday scheduled? Have flexibility during the workday, allow people to work remotely if it's not needed to be there physically, and just make them comfortable. Also allow them to have room to grow, basically. Care about the people you work with. That's my stand as a business owner. But then, for example, in this project with funded by Google.org, I, as a teammate, as a colleague, I care about also the environment. I also care about the ergonomics of work in a way that, do you always have to go to the office? Do you always have to take your car? Do you always have to take the bus to go to the office? Honestly, sometimes you can do so much better by saving 2 hours of travel time.
Yeah.
And work from home. You can be more efficient. You can focus on deep work. Maybe there's less people to talk by the water cooler, and also at the same time it helps with the environment as well. I love public transportation, but also those buses and trains. They still have some kind of emissions and those kind of things.
Yeah,
be empathetic, be educated.
Yeah, and then at the same time, talking about working at home every once in a while. It's not only being, efficient on your job, but on your life at the same time.
Yes.
Because now, the work-life balance is one that we struggle. I guess everybody struggles with that. So if you can, do your laundry at the same time.
Yes.
When you're working, it takes a few minutes to just pop it open and put it on and, let the machine do the work.
Yeah.
But then when you are at home, you can, let the machine do the work, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you can do your laundry, you can do different things at your lunch break or whatever, and
Yes.
then have your work-life balance be a lot better than just going to the office every day, like you said.
Listen, imagine we never have enough time. People have families, they have work, they have hobbies. Some people need to sleep more than others.
Yeah,
We're always running out of time, and that's the key with digital collaboration. These tools is that you might save 2 hours a day by not traveling to work or going to a meeting with a customer. Imagine if you do that every day, even some week, you get 10 hours more for a week. What do you want to do if someone comes to you and say that, listen, I can give you 10 hours more time per week. What are you going to do with it? You might even start crying. Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, 10 hours is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And you can, if you want, you can invest that back in the work if you want, or you can spend it with your family. You can spend it with your friends. You can learn. You can go to the gym. You can learn to cook, whatever you want. Imagine that 52 times a week. That's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
That changed lives.
And then nowadays in the digital world, like we've been talking, it doesn't really matter where you work, because you can be in Germany, you can be in New York and in Japan at the same day.
That is so true. Although I have to mention also here again the Google.org project, where I'm working with factory workers and cleaners and also with bus drivers. Those people, they have to be there most of the time. Not all people work at office like you and me do.
Yeah.
But it's still the same point. Sometimes I've had, for example, this early this month I was training one group of factory workers. And I learned from them that they also have meetings. They also are asked to give feedback or ideas to the supervisors, and those things they can still do remotely. And even though you don't have the luxury to work from home all the time because you can't have like a factory grade equipment at home, you can still save some. You might save an hour a week. Who knows?
Yeah, and still hour is an hour. You can do whatever you want with your time, so to speak, if it's out of working hours. But yeah, definitely. And I appreciate those guys who do, those jobs.
Yes.
I've been working on offices my whole career, and so, it's kind of a, it's a different world. When you're in a factory, or if you're in an office job. It's still, there's the same facts that the work-life balance is. You still need to think about it at the same time. It doesn't really matter what your job is. You need to think about it. And not going to and thinking about how you get to work. Like you said, is it car or a bus or a bike or running?
Yeah.
It's that's what we're here. That's what the podcast is about. It's about cleaning the world and thinking about new ways of not let our planet die, so to speak.
Yeah, and even if we think about these factory workers, cleaners, and bus drivers, we then also have to look at the free time, the work time. If you look at the free time, how much time do you save if you do your banking online?
Yeah.
If you fill out a form online, not go to I don't think anyone loves bureaucracy. I don't think anyone likes queuing. Those can take hours and hours, once per month or once per week. And even if you have this manual work, you can still save a lot of time by taking it to your free time.
Yeah.
Digital collaboration, digital tools.
On that note, let's clean the world. But thank you, Kim. Thank you for joining this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.